Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Jenga Njeru. Now, today we have the Matchmaker show, and you understand the protocol here. Any other time we have a man on board, the man must be looking for a woman. In the same way, when we have a woman on board, that woman must be looking for a man. And because today we are having a man, I will tell you the kind of woman he is looking for. But before then, if you're watching us for the first time, this is the Matchmaker show. We help men and women to get matches. And the moment they get the right ones, they meet their destinies. So you're not lost. If you're new to the show, subscribe, like the video, and don't forget to leave a comment. Also, the contacts of our guest will be on my Facebook page at Jenga Njeru. Now, our guest on today's show is a 56-year-old man, single and searching. His name is Philip. You could be asking yourself, why is a 56-year-old man single? What kind of a woman is he looking for? And is he divorced, widowed, never married? Those are the kind of questions that we ask on the show. And we attempt to answer all of them so that one can decide whether or not they will be interested in the candidate. Now, Mr. Philip is a Kikuyu. His second name is Wambogo, but in the US he uses his surname. And he has been single for the last 15 years because one thing led to another. And he confesses, for the very first time, I'm looking at a situation where the man is accepting the blame. The man is accepting responsibility, is accepting to take responsibility for his mistakes, because he went to the US before the wife. And when he went to the US, he entangled himself with a relationship with another woman because he had not gone with the family. So he made arrangements, one thing led to another. After 3 years, he was able to bring back his family. Unfortunately, or fortunately, when he was about to bring his family, the wife, the woman whom they were having an affair with, got pregnant. And that pregnancy was the beginning of havoc in his marriage, because when the wife came, in the US it's not like in Kenya or in other African countries. You have to pay for things like child support, and there's nothing to hide. So you cannot be hiding, because maybe your wife will know the amount of money you earn, and if that money is subtracted from your income, somebody will be able to know. And it also reaches a point where the other person does not want to be hidden. So especially if you find the kind that does not tolerate being hidden from the main agenda, then you're in trouble. And that is how Mr. Wambogo found himself in trouble, because when the wife came back, this woman gave birth, and he already had his own 2 children. Okay, so when the wife came to the US, so they were having a conflict, one level of conflict today, another level of conflict tomorrow, and that marriage was unbearable. And he says that the wife was the unforgiving type, the people who cannot forgive you, especially when you wrong them. And that is how he lost his wife to another person, because the wife said, you committed infidelity, I cannot forgive you. And thinking that it was a joke, the wife moved on. Wakati alijisimamisha, she stayed for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and then she decided to call it quits, because after every other discussion, after every other argument, the wife would remind him, remember you cheated when you were supposed to be working. Remember you cheated. And the man decided, okay, I'm not going to pursue, because the more I continue to pursue, the more I seek for forgiveness, then the more this woman is having, do we call them gangster points? Do we call them bonga points of negotiation? And you see, if you cannot be able to forgive, it is very important that you declare in advance, so that one can decide whether or not they are going to move on. So Mr. Philip Wambogo, and most people in the US don't know him as Wambogo, so I am skipping his surname intentionally because it might raise a lot of concern. He is currently in New York. He used to live in Boston, in a place called Lowell, but he shifted. This is the 6th year since he left Boston. So Boston is in the state of Massachusetts. So he is now in New York, Manhattan. So if you're there and you're interested, and I want to give a disclaimer that our guest on today's show is not interested in a woman who is in Kenya, and he is not interested in a woman who is in any other part of the world apart from the US, the UK, Canada, Europe. If you're in Europe, Canada, Australia, or the US,